Have you ever wondered what's hiding under your lawn? If you think you won't find anything but an old rusty nail or some trash, perhaps these discoveries will show you that sometimes the most valuable and incredible things can be found in your own backyard, from an entire gold mine to a stolen Ferrari. Welcome to a new video. Here are 15 strange things people found in their backyard. Number 15. Find a gold mine in your backyard. Buying second-hand items is often a gamble. You never really know what you're going to get. It's the same when you buy someone's property. Sometimes you might be buying more than the listing indicates. Anthony Doolan knows this all too well. Luckily for him, the property's backyard came with a hidden blessing rather than a curse. His story spread in 2018 when he discovered that the property he bought several years earlier actually had an unexpected secret. Doolan bought a property in Brisbane, a nice house with a pool and a good view of the nearby hills. Its price is $1.35 million. It's a steep price, but with how beautiful the entire property is, it was worth every penny. When Doolan explored his property, however, he stumbled upon a freebie that came with the property, a gold mine. Yes, you heard that right. A quick investigation revealed that the mine was a remnant of the gold rush days. Several mines were spread around Brisbane, where people probably tried their luck at finding the precious metal. What would you do if you stumbled upon a gold mine on your property? Would you explore it in the hopes of finding gold? If you were to ask Doolan, he would rather not. He decided not to venture into the mine any further, and after 3 years of living on the property, he decided to sell it. Although he initially hoped to make a profit, the property eventually sold for the same amount he had paid, $1.35 million. In the end, he neither gained nor suffered a loss in today's economy that was still a win. Number 14. Las Vegas family sees an alien in their backyard. In 2023, the Kenmore family, who lives in a quiet neighborhood in Las Vegas, saw something in their yard that changed their lives forever. One fateful day at midnight, they called 911, claiming that they had encountered 2 imposing otherworldly beings in their backyard. They were not talking about ghosts or entities, but aliens. The family claimed that the strange creatures were between 8 to 10 feet tall and had large eyes that did not blink. The family shared that they hastily contacted the authorities, but despite the prompt arrival of the police, not a single trace of the creatures was found. You would think that this would be the end, and that the Kenmore family's claim would simply be ignored, but unfortunately, this was not the case. For the Kenmore family, the story did not end there. News of the encounter spread, and people on the internet were quick to label the incident as a hoax. What was worse was the fact that the family was soon locked inside their home, not because of any alien threats, but because of the intense public scrutiny and accusations that came with it. While some people believed that the Kenmore family did indeed witness aliens exploring their neighborhood, others believed that the Kenmores orchestrated the whole thing to get attention. Did the family actually see aliens in their backyard, or are their claims made up in hopes of gaining traction on the internet? I'll let you be the judge. Number 13. A scary visitor. Imagine being working in your garden and suddenly coming face to face with this creature. How would you react? If you ask me, I would die from the cuteness of this spider. Most people, however, would definitely get rid of the creature as soon as possible. If you are also afraid of spiders, then maybe this will dissipate after learning more about them. This particular arachnid is the wolf spider. This one was captured by a man in Sydney, Australia, while he was working in his backyard. If you live in the land below, you will know that these creatures are commonly seen in the country, but that doesn't make these spiders any less special. Unlike most spider species that rely on webs to capture their prey, wolf spiders are active hunters. I guess their name is quite fitting due to their predation technique. They use their excellent vision and speed to chase down insects and other small creatures, which they then overpower with a venomous bite. While they are more agile than other insects, wolf spiders do not pose a threat to humans unless, of course, you are afraid of them, in which case you really don't have to worry about being bitten. On the rare chance that the most the bite will do is cause discomfort and mild irritation. So if you see one of these bugs in your yard, it might be best to let the little guy live. Number 12. A woman in Australia wakes up to a smelly find in her backyard. In May, a woman in Sydney woke up to a rather strange smell, and a strange sight in her backyard looked like something out of a horror movie. It was bright red and had appendages. It looked like nothing she'd ever seen before. She claimed that she cautiously approached the strange object, not knowing what it was until pictures of it went viral on the internet, and she eventually realized that the intruder was a mushroom. This strange mushroom, with its starfish-shaped arms and rotting flesh-like stench, is known as the stink mushroom. Stink mushrooms are known for their foul odor that mimics the smell of decaying meat. Now, There is a reason for that, you see. By emitting this smell, the mushroom attracts flies and other insects that then help spread its spores, ensuring that the mushroom can continue its life cycle. The smelly slime that covers the fungus's arms is also specifically designed to attract these unsuspecting insects who carry the spores to new locations on their legs and bodies. The strange thing is that this fungus is commonly found in lush, humid environments, not something that usually appears in a well-kept garden. However, it is possible that after the month's heavy rains, the garden became a desirable environment for the fungus. Number 11. A strange living room centerpiece. Deep in the heart of rural Iowa, a farmer named John had a secret so massive it literally took over his living room. Nestled amongst the everyday furniture in his home was the fossils of a woolly mammoth he dug up from his own backyard. This discovery dates back to 2010. John and his 2 sons were hunting for blackberries on their property when they stumbled across something large. They couldn't determine what it was until they dug up most of it. That's when they realized they had discovered a bone. Not just any ordinary bone, but a femur so thick and large it likely belonged to a giant creature. Over the next 2 years, John continued to dig up his land and unearthed nearly 20 more bones, including ribs and vertebrae. He also sought out the help of an expert from the University of Iowa, a retired professor of vertebrate paleontology, along with other students who volunteered for the dig. More fossils were found and identified. What they discovered next was astonishing, not just one, but potentially parts of 3 woolly mammoths that roamed Iowa during the Ice Age some 12,000 years ago. Needless to say, John's living room was quickly turned into a museum after putting the fossils found in his backyard on display. Unfortunately, the experts were left in the dark as John claimed that he planned on keeping all of the fossils for himself. Number 10. A dog finds a skull buried in his owner's backyard. Dogs have a reputation for collecting and burying bones, but this dog did the opposite. He dug one up in his own human's backyard. Adam Honeyman was renovating his yard in 2016 when his dog sniffed out a bone deep in the ground. Much to his horror, Adam discovered a human jawbone that still had its pearly white teeth. He quickly contacted authorities fearing his dog may have found the remains of a murder victim, but it turned out that wasn't the case. Depending on how you look at it, the reality of the jawbone is worse than Adam's initial theory. It turned out Adam didn't discover a victim, but one of the many people buried in the area. After investigating the location of the house, they realized it had actually been built on a decommissioned cemetery. We know all too well what happens when cemeteries are disturbed. Thankfully, Adam never experienced anything strange at his house. In fact, if it weren't for his dog sniffing around jaws, Adam would never have thought that something like this was under his garden, or several other creepy bodies. Number 9. 6 mysterious sacks. In 2023, Australia resident Ashley did a double take when she noticed 6 strange sacks tied to a tree in her backyard. Perched high up in the front of a palm tree in her backyard were 6 mysterious pear-shaped sacks. Naturally, Ashley was quite alarmed by what she saw. Those strange sacks hadn't existed the day before. Before I tell you what they are, do you have any ideas? If so, pause this video and comment below. Initially, Ashley couldn't figure out what she discovered or what they were and eventually sought help online. It wasn't long before the verdict was in on the otherworldly sacks. They were egg sacks that belonged to the magnificent spider, a species native to the east coast of Australia. These sacks could hold up to 600 spider eggs each, meaning Ashley likely welcomed around 3,600 spider babies into her yard. Magnificent spiders are harmless to humans. In fact, many people are very fond of them due to their unique appearance and unique eggs. However, for Ashley, who admitted to being afraid of spiders, this discovery was more than disturbing. Number 8. A time capsule. In 2022, a woman was working in her garden when she unearthed a peculiar glass jar buried in her backyard. It was something she didn't expect. She found a time capsule. The hermetically sealed jar contained a strange assortment of items: a lottery ticket, a Ninja Turtle figurine, and a newspaper page dated December 1990. This time, capsule was definitely less curated than others, but it showed the personality of the people who buried it. If you ask me, a newspaper is definitely one of the most important things to include in a time capsule. What would happen if you made a time capsule? What would you include? Let me know in the comments below. Number 7. A gold wedding ring found again after 4 decades. Pearl Mack of Pennsylvania probably never expected that. A simple household mishap would lead to a mystery that would last for decades. In the early 1970s, Pearl was taking a shower when her gold wedding ring slipped off her finger and disappeared down the drain. Despite her efforts to retrieve it, the ring was presumed lost forever, and yet life went on. Fate had other plans, and in 2014, her granddaughter's husband, Mike Caruso, was exploring her garden using a metal detector when he discovered something shiny. He inspected the object closely and realized that what he was holding in his hands was a ring, the same one Pearl lost long ago. Pearl was overcome with emotion upon learning that her ring had been found and quickly held up the very ring that had been a symbol of her marriage for so many years now. There really is nothing more comforting than finding something you thought you had lost forever. Number 6. An alligator in the backyard. When Larry Bland, a Texas resident, walked out into his backyard, he didn't expect to find a surprise guest cooling off in his pool, a 5-foot alligator. It's not every day you wake up to find a top predator in your backyard pool. But in certain parts of Texas, this can be a reality. Alligators are native to the southeastern United States and thrive in freshwater environments such as swamps, marshes, rivers, and lakes. However, as more and more neighborhoods are built, the less space these alligators have to live. In this case, the alligator's home must have been nearby, and upon seeing a pool of cold water, it couldn't resist the opportunity to properly dive in. The situation was handled by local wildlife experts who safely removed the alligator and relocated it to a more appropriate environment. It goes without saying, but if you ever see an alligator or crocodile, you better contact someone who knows how to handle them, otherwise you could lose a limb. Number 5. A couple stumbles upon a safe full of jewelry. It was a typical day in Staten Island when Matthew and Maria Colonna decided to plant some new trees in their backyard. While working in their garden, the couple stumbled upon a rusty metal box. They thought it was an old electrical box, but as they dug deeper, they realized it was a safe. Inside the rusty box, they discovered $52,000 in cash, along with an assortment of precious jewelry, including pieces encrusted with jade and diamonds, and several engagement rings. It was a moment straight out of a treasure hunter's dream, but the story didn't end there. The safe also contained a note with a Brooklyn address. Following this lead, Matthew and Maria traced the address to a neighbor's house. This is where the plot thickens. It turned out that the safe had been stolen from their neighbors almost 7 years earlier during a burglary that took place the night after Christmas in 2011. The neighbors had long given up hope of ever seeing their stolen goods again. Imagine their surprise when Matthew showed up at their door with the safe they lost years ago. Matthew and Maria's decision to return the treasure instead of keeping it was driven by a simple sense of right and wrong. Maria put it best when she said it wasn't even a question. It wasn't theirs. This couple deserves a shout-out. Other people would have probably kept the safe for themselves. This is the kind of neighbor we all want and deserve. Number 4. A hibernating black bear. In January 2023, a family in Connecticut got the surprise of a lifetime when they discovered a massive creature sleeping under their backyard deck, an adult male black bear. First, the family noticed their 3-year-old pit bull seemed unusually agitated as he looked at something under the deck, so they decided to take a closer look. Needless to say, a hibernating bear was not what they were expecting. They affectionately named the black bear Marty, but they knew that as adorable as the black bear looked, it was still a wild animal. So the family reached out to the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection for advice. But since Marty wasn't causing any harm, it would be best to either leave him alone until spring or force the bear to flee by scaring him with loud noises and stimulation. Luckily, the family decided to let the bear stay and keep everyone safe. The family decided to avoid the backyard altogether, allowing Martin to hibernate peacefully. Marty definitely chose an unconventional place to spend the cold months. Black bears typically seek out secluded areas like dense forests or caves to hibernate in. Marty's presence below deck became a local sensation, with one family even creating social media accounts for their unusual guest, sharing their story. Number 3. The world's largest earthworm. Did you know that there are earthworms in the world that are as big as snakes? Yes, you heard that right. One of these giant worms was discovered by Li Wei in 2012. He was putting Chinese dates out to dry in his backyard when something peculiar caught his eye. At first glance, it looked as if a snake had slithered into his garden, but upon closer inspection, Li realized it was not a reptile, but a massive, sprawling earthworm. Now nearly 2 feet long, earthworms are usually small, but some species can reach extraordinary lengths due to genetics and an abundance of food. I don't know about you, but I would definitely stay away from an earthworm this size. If I saw one in my backyard, this creature may be harmless, but looking at it already gives me goosebumps. Number 2. Woman finds adorable lost animal. Perhaps humans are hardwired to immediately welcome any cute creature they see. In 2019, a woman in Melbourne woke up to the sounds of an animal crying in her backyard. That's when she saw a tiny puppy. At least initially she thought it was the young animal that was scared and hungry. She decided to feed it and take it home. Upon closer inspection, she realized it didn't look like an ordinary dog. After scouring the internet, she discovered who the puppy really was. It was a wild dingo. Dingoes have roamed the Australian landscape for over 3,500 years, and their presence is deeply intertwined with the continent's natural history. Unlike domesticated dogs, dingoes are apex predators, meaning they sit at the top of the food chain. However, despite their hunting skills, they don't stand a chance against the threats they currently face due to hybridization with domestic dogs. Wild dingoes are slowly disappearing, and over time, the genetic purity of wild dingo populations could be completely eroded. Number 1. A stolen Ferrari. Here you have a rather old discovery, yet it still stands. One of the most fascinating backyard discoveries to this day. In 1978, a group of kids in a Los Angeles neighborhood were digging in their front yard when they hit something metallic. Needless to say, the adults were quite shocked when they heard the little kids telling them about a car buried underground. When they went to the yard, they indeed discovered a car. Not just any car, but a Ferrari Dino 246 GTS. Who would bury such an excellent car? Let me tell you the story of how the car ended up underground. It's quite incredible. The vehicle's odometer read only 500,000 kilometers, and it looked like it was buried when it was still in top condition. The car was purchased in October of 1974 by a plumber named Rosendo Cruz of Alhambra, California, as a gift for his wife. And in December of that same year, the car was stolen on Wilshire Boulevard. A police report was filed as well as an insurance claim, leading many to believe that the whole thing was a ploy by Cruz to get money, while also keeping his car. Many theorized that the quote-unquote thieves who stole the car were in cahoots with each other. Unfortunately for them, the car was not discovered before they could move on to the next stage of their scheme. The car was eventually purchased by a real estate agent named Brad Howard after it was put up for auction by farmers. The insurance had paid out the claim when the theft was first reported. Howard, seeing the potential of the vehicle, restored the dinosaur to its former glory. The restoration was a success, and the dinosaur was given a new life roaming the streets of Los Angeles once again, now with the proper license plate dug up well. That's a good pun. We've reached the end of this video. Tell us what you think in the comments box. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss future videos like this one. See you next time.